I was forced to. Now, either you'll make a decision to rest on your own, or life will make a decision for you and put you in a position. Hey now, how is everybody doing? Welcome to Reset Diaries with Tanya E. Today, I'm going to do things just a little bit different. So, let me introduce you to Robert. Robert is in his 30s, recently divorced. He's a project manager, and he feels like he has to do everything on his own. Yeah, you see, Robert is that type of person that wakes up early in the morning. They go exercise, come back home, get dressed for work. Robert gets to work. He already has thought out a plan to make certain that he reaches the goals and meets all the metrics down in front of him. Because in his mind's eye, if he can pour all of his energy in maximizing what he does, it will bring him value. It will make him feel appreciated because Robert has tied his productivity to his worth. Are you like Robert? You see, I've made Robert up as one of the various elements of my being because there was a time I was Robert. You see, in the aftermath of my divorce, I was not really sure how I was going to do this thing, but I knew one thing for sure. On top of being relationally broken, emotionally broken, I was also financially broken. So I had to get myself together and figure out how was I going to be able to move into a better direction. I couldn't figure out how to fix my relationship. It was already gone. I did not want a new relationship. For those of you that know my story, you all know that in the aftermath of the chaos of that first marriage, I was not doing this again. But I chose to work on the things that I thought I could. And working on that tangible element, that was something that I felt I had control over. If I could control how I was dealing with my world financially, I wouldn't have to be dependent on the chaos that was happening in the aftermath of my divorce. I could eventually get myself together emotionally. Anyway, I poured myself into my job. I figured out the best way because as a project manager, I'm built for strategy. It's what I do on a regular basis. And because in my mind's eye, I had to find a way to truly fine tune and pour my energy here because I needed a win. I needed a win somewhere in my life. And because I knew I was good at what I do, getting the win there made me feel like I could win anywhere. But here's the thing. Often when we decide as action-oriented individuals to pour ourselves into things instead of focusing on what we know we really need to focus on, you often get a temporary win and it feels good. But at the end of the day, when you have nothing else on your calendar to distract you, the loneliness caves in, that moment of feeling unproductive because now you're facing a life that you have been running from. So how do we work through that? Well, to help you moving forward, I decided that I would start introducing you to different elements of my life. And I provided the name for this one, Robert. Robert's that action-oriented part of me because all of the things that I share comes from the different elements of my life. I only teach, share, and show what I know and do. But I often find that sometimes if I'm sharing pieces of my life, I'm giving as much as I can in different areas, but everybody else isn't able to pull those pieces together to fine tune, is this thought for me? And so now I've decided that I'm going to open up what I teach, share, and show and narrow down the view inside of a character. And Robert will be the individual that's action-oriented, the one that is always working on getting a task done. You know, the type of person that is a natural-born leader. Yeah, a lot of us are like that. And I want you to be mindful that this is only one subset of who I am. I'm certain it's one subset of who you are as well. So Robert is who I decide I will create to share with you, the individual that was once like me, with a full calendar and all the plans, pouring your identity into your work, thinking that that will help you get to the other side so you can feel whole and have the life that you truly desire, the peace that you've been looking for. Because I'm telling y'all, when I finally found my peace, I was able to rest. And it is in resting that I was able to take a closer look at the various pillars of my life. So some of you Those that have worked with me closely, you already know this. REST is an acronym that I use to look at the four major pillars to start making our lives a little simple, because we're in an environment where things are always so rushed and there's so much to do that we don't often know where we can pinpoint what one or two areas of my life can I truly look at. Well, I have four, and I use four because four to me is a foundation. When you think about a table, it has four legs. That's a good foundation. It's a stable foundation to get you to move where you need to be. And for some of us, with all the things that we are towing, we need to have four elements to carry the load that we are dealing with. So rest. Rest stands for relationships. It is in our relational areas that we need to start taking a look at, because for a lot of us, the breakdowns that we have often occur personally. Your personal relationships, you're not really sure how to deal with, don't have a clear plan on how to move forward in, and often you've never had anybody truly walk you successfully through what a good relationship is, how you show up in a relationship. And when a relationship starts going awry, how do you overcome those moments of conflict and chaos? Well, I've walked through that and I've developed elements about it, but it first began with me pausing for this one area, relationships. And when I started getting my relationships a lot better, it helped me move into the next one, E, emotions. Your emotions is an area that you will have to look at, because that is the one part of you that crosses over personally and professionally. So if you don't have a clear idea of how you are showing up emotionally in your environments, it will affect how you move and how you function and what you intend to do. Because if you are anything like me, the action-oriented part, Robert, then all the tasks that you are doing, you're pouring yourself into them, but your emotions may cause you to slip a little things here and there. And that slip here and a slip there, depending on where you work and what you do, could cause more chaos than you imagined. You see, I had to get myself together and start paying better attention to the emotional elements of my life. And it is there that I discovered that if I didn't get this together, the rest of what I was trying to do would fall apart. That leads me to the next letter, S. S is spiritual. Then I know that there's a lot of different conversations about how people can function from a spiritual perspective, and there are a few that even wonder, is it truly needed? I want you to know that you will never be able to have a better relationship with yourself so that you can have a better relationship with others until you have a better relationship with a being greater than yourself. You cannot get to a better position with the same thinking, the same constructs, the same elements of who you are in that situation to get out of it. It takes a new version of you to move into a better direction. And so as I walk through various elements about the action-oriented individual to get healed, to get whole, and to move into a better direction, I'll use Robert as my example and walk you through elements of his life, pieces of my life story, because you all know Red Alert Diaries was birthed from the diaries of my life. And I'll pull out the touch points in my life, like the part where I felt that I had to be responsible for everything and everybody. And I needed to take action now to get through the situations that I was in. Yeah, because I know that how I have functioned and lived in my world, it's not just residing in an element of me. And as a woman, some men may not be able to fully see how they show up in that, because the human construct, there are nuances about how we walk through it. But what I teach here and show and what I know and do works with both male and female. So Robert will be my action-oriented persona to support you, to start rebuilding your life the way that you desire, to be able to effectively communicate what you need. Because for a lot of us, we are so focused on thinking that this one area, tangible, that's the last one, T. If we just get the tangible things together, everything else will fall in place. That's not true. But as we work on these four pillars, you'll have a stable foundation, like a stable, firm table. Looked at me like I was crazy. But I knew what I had to do. It was time for him to go. So I packed up his things. Red alert. Is he the one? The pocket guide, the fine and love of your life, tells my story. The free chapter is available for you in the link below. So if you find yourself always busy so that you can avoid the loneliness of life, or maybe tying your worth to the productivity of what you do on your job, or for some of us, we have our personal things. If you just make certain that the kids are here and doing all the various things, then the results that you receive will be better. I want to challenge you with that thought, because if you learn to pause and rest in your relationships so that you can gain a greater understanding about how you're showing up. Rest in your emotions so that you will know how you can get to a more stable position in them. Rest spiritually, because you're going to need a vision outside of yourself to be able to move into a better direction. And rest tangibly. This hustle culture that a lot of us are sitting in makes you think that if you are not running 9,000 miles an hour trying to build up your business, build up your career, that you won't be able to make it. And you can't stop because you got to keep hustling to make things work and keep things coming together. I want you to know you were not built to do that much work all the time. You will burn out. You will break down. And I don't want you to be like I was at one point in my world, where my body decided to shut down on me and I ended up in the hospital for a week. I was doing all the things, but because I chose not to rest, literally and figuratively, I was forced to. Now, either you'll make a decision to rest on your own, or life will make a decision for you and put you in a position where you no longer have control. So I want to take you through the journey using Robert as my thought process for the version of Tanya that needed to learn these lessons. And as I walk through this journey, if you find that any part of this resonates with you, then it's time to reset. So like, comment, and share this information with others. But before I go, I want to leave you with a next level note. You see, my next level note, for those of you that are just getting a chance to be introduced to it, are those principles and concepts that have supported me to get into a better direction. And in this note, I'm reminded of the story of Peter. And if you've never heard of Peter in the Bible, he was the one that was bold and brave. He was the one that was bold, very impulsive. He was the action-oriented person of the group. When you look at the story of the disciples, I often call Peter the gangster of the group, because he did not have a problem going scrapping toe to toe, blow for blow, if that's what it took. But here's the thing about Peter. In his rash to do the things that his action-oriented heart did, he didn't always pause to think. He didn't always make a decision to look at other areas of rest that we just covered. He knew that he wanted to have a relational aspect, so he wanted to be close to who Jesus was. He didn't think about his emotional self much, so that was not a true consideration. And spiritually, I feel that Peter was spiritual because he recognized that Jesus was the Messiah. But Peter functioned heavy on the tangible side of things, just like Robert. And as we walk through the stories of life and looking at how he functioned when Peter messed up, the thing that I love, which was a reminder to me when I messed up, God will redirect you to put you in a better position so that the rest of your life can be the best of your life. And that rash part of you, the impulsive nature, the things that you want to do to get it done, you can still do. But when you let Jesus join you on the journey, he'll take that element of who you are and expand it and make it better. Because Peter started out his life as a fisherman, doing his work, heavy work, good work. Of his day, he was one of the best. But God transformed his actions and his steps and made him the individual that shared a message with more than 3,000 people at one time. He took a fisherman and made him a public speaker. He took a fisherman and made him one of the builders of the first founding churches. He took a fisherman, a position that for some individuals in this day and age may be like I once had. You see, I'm a project manager, but I started out as a secretary. I had the skills then to organize, to structure, to put things in place, but I wasn't seen in that light until I let Jesus join me on the journey. He took a secretary and maximized her skill. He took a secretary and showed her where she could progress. He took a secretary, turned her into an author, a speaker, and a coach. You see, if you let Jesus join you on the journey, He'll maximize your life and expand it beyond what you ever imagined, because I never intended to write a book. Being an author was the last thing on my mind. I never intended to truly be in public speaking, but I won several awards along the way. I never intended to truly live the life I'm living, but I am grateful. I am so grateful that God chose to look beyond what I could see and place me exactly where I needed to be. And He will do the same for you. And if you want someone to join you on the journey, feel free to go to my website, tanyaehood.com. There you can click under the Work With Me tab and see the various ways that we can work with one another. In the meantime, this is Tanya E. Hood, walking in my purpose, and I want you to do the same.